This is about the 11-2 in someone's soul contract chart. So the 11-2, unlike we've already talked about the 2 energy. So the 2 can show up as a 2-2, a 2-2. But the 11 will never be an 11-11. So it'll just be an 11 and it'll always be paired with a 2. So an 11-2 in your soul contract chart. The 11, now see, these two are both double meaning numbers. So we've already talked about the 2. The 2 is you're moving from foolishness to wisdom. And a 2, like if you struggle, if it's in the negative or karmic areas, you're going to make really impulsive decisions based purely on emotion. And you're not going to look back at past experiences and say, oh, that's right. I shouldn't take this, diamond ski trail because last time I broke my leg, and all my friends are telling me, maybe you shouldn't do this because, last time you broke your leg. So it's that type of thing. And then that plays into the 11, which we'll talk about in a minute. But you sort of forget what happened in the past, and then you continually kind of make these decisions that are really impulsive, and you forget about the bad things that happened when you made those decisions. So that you can go back and watch the 2. There'll be more information on that, but the 2 in a positive way, moving into like a positive or a talent area of the 2 would mean you're really resilient. You look at past experience and actually be discerning and make a decision based on that. And also, the 2 in a negative area would mean that you're not resilient. Like any sort of setback just kind of causes you to crumble. Whereas a 2 in the positive would mean that you are really resilient. You can handle failure and you can, pick yourself up and keep going. Now, the 11 is the most extreme of these double meaning numbers because this means death to life. And this isn't, now we all experience death, and this isn't, let's say your great grandma died who you only saw once a year. We're not talking about that. It's a death that's sudden, that's like tragic, unexpected, someone really close to you. It could also mean a near death experience that you go through, or a serious accident, something like that. And your soul wanted you to experience this because it needed rapid transformation. So, what your soul wants you to do is look at your values and rapidly transform them. So if this thing didn't happen, there may not have been a catalyst to sort of like push you to transform your views and your values of life and how you look at life. But this causes you to go through a rapid transformation. And this will then cause you to look at, like I said, look at your values, look at things that you think you value, and it maybe will turn out that those are a value that from someone else. Somebody else told you this is something you should value, but after going through this, then now you look at things differently, you look at life differently, and you look at the things that you value differently. So that's the 11. The 11 is also, so it's also Venus energy. So it wants, love and harmony, but you can also be a little self-indulgent and greedy. And even though you want to be balanced, you may have a hard time staying balanced. And also discernment. So that's a big one with the 11, and again it's a big one with the 2 because you have to be discerning when you're making these decisions. Now, some of these things that could happen, like these near death experiences, these serious accidents, could happen because of the impulsiveness of the number two. And so that's why the 11 and the 2 are together. So, some of these things could happen because of the impulsiveness of the number 2. Both of these numbers, you're probably really super intelligent. But the 11 might mean that you have even though you're super intelligent, you may have trouble in school. So that's an energy of the 11 too. Now, the 11 and 2 together, I guess I should back up. The 11 is also, it's really an energy of building. So that could mean building an actual physical structure. It could mean building a business. It could mean building around some sort of concept or value or a truth, and then you take that and you teach it to other people. But it's definitely a number of building. And then 2 is in, moving towards like a positive area. The 2 would be that you are very resilient and that you are the one that can not only handle your emotions, but you can handle other people who are having an emotionally tough time. So people come to you when they are having a really tough time emotionally. So, and you then help them get through that. So the 11 and 2 together, if you have an 11-2 together in a karmic area, it just feels like everything you do is a little off, or you can't ever get things to work, or you just, it doesn't matter how much you try, it just doesn't really work out. So it can be really frustrating. And then you might rely on other people, and then you become dependent on them. So then you're sort of lost because you're dependent on these other people, and you're sort of lost, and you if anything comes along to really kind of knock you down, it sort of really knocks you down. And like I said, you could have difficulty in school even though you're not you're very intelligent, and you have a hard time dealing with spiritual unknowns. If you have an 11-2 in a talent area, then like I said, you're very intelligent, and you probably are you don't have trouble in school like you would if it was in a karmic area, but very intelligent, and your mind is always searching for things to build. So you can start with something small and you build it out. It could be something like you're a creator in some sort of way, like an architect, or you like a sculptor or something like that, where you're building something physical. Um, Also, like I said, very good at building a business. You're able to deal with failure. It really doesn't, knock you off course very long. And you are able to learn, if it's in more of like the spiritual talents area, you're able to learn a spiritual concept and then present it to other people in greater detail than it was presented to you. So that's if it's in a talent area. If it's in a goal area, then you are here to build some sort of structure and, more importantly, to leave a lasting mark in this world. So it's something that people are going to find really important, and you're here to be a teacher of higher truth and understanding. So that would be a goal if it's in a goal area. And a soul destiny is building a structure around a truth or a spiritual concept and then sharing it and being resilient, and also not only sharing this this truth or this spiritual concept, but then sharing yourself too. So that's if it's in a soul destiny. And if you have an 11-2 in an area where it's, a karmic area, or you need to develop the positive traits of this, then, like I said, some of this comes from, your soul wanted a rapid transformation out of this maybe value system that was given to you by other people. You may have already done this if you've experienced one of these death to life experiences. You may have already reevaluated some of the things in your life that once you valued, and then going through that transformation, you realize, well, oh, that was someone else's values. That's not my values. So you may have already done some of this, but you might want to take a look and just make sure there aren't other areas where you've adopted someone else's values that are not supposed to be yours. So you may want to take a look at that. And then again, it's about building your own values, building your own way that you move through this life. And you need to look at maybe different ways to build things or to learn things, because again, maybe these things were given to you when you were younger and you thought, oh, well, because, my parents said this or whatever, there's only one way to do this. But that's not the case. And you might want to experiment with different ways of learning things, in order to then build your own sort of structure or concept or spiritual truth. So look for different ways of learning things too. And then, of course, a big thing with the number 2 is to make sure you're evaluating a situation using your past experience. So don't just jump in. And so by sort of tapping into your intuition, that's going to give you some clues on, not only your memory of, oh, here's what happened when I did this before, but, listen to your body too. Your body will tell you what is good, and, your intuition is going to tell you what is good and what isn't, or what you should do and what you shouldn't. So, and then you can also go back to the video on the 2-2 for some more tips on how to, navigate this number. Because it is really, I know a lot of these numbers are heavy. A lot of these numbers have had maybe a lot of childhood trauma associated with them, but this is also very traumatic, obviously, to lose someone in a way that is, like I was talking about, sudden, unexpected, tragic. So this, if you need some professional healing to get through that, that may be something you'll have to do too. But just know that your soul wanted you to experience this so that you could transform, and rapid transformation. That's what it wanted. So I don't know if that makes you feel any better, but if you don't know your numbers yet, I'll put up the video where you can learn how to calculate your numbers, and then you can go back to my website and you can read all about them, or eventually they'll all be up here on YouTube. But if you have any questions, let me know.